Welcome y'all to the old Guardsman channel. I know I'm out of frame, but there's a reason behind it, and it's the reason behind me. My backdrop is an actual American flag. So today I happen to have something very good, something that's well, to put it into the words of another channel which I happen to watch quite often, Mr. AVE. Mr. Bolter himself. A little bit of scientism for yous. So, without further ado, here is the Guardsman channel's take on climate change. Hang on, y'all, sit here and light me one. Oh, totally makes things easier. Okay. So just like on my uncle's channel, The Prepared Mind, by the way, no actual relation. He is a family friend who I call uncle because that's the way I was brought up. So in the efforts of the Prepared Mind channel, I'm going to bring to you the Guardsman on Board of Truth. So here we go. Let's take a good look at this, folks. Yeah. No, I don't write backwards. This is a problem with the camera. Humans and climate change. Local, global, and universal. First on the list. And it actually happens to be the subject of the video today. What effects do we human beings have on climate change? Now, most of you would say we have a drastic effect on climate change, specifically due to our technology. I would argue that no, and you don't know our technology, because this has as much of an effect on the climate as our technology. Puts out just about as much harmful carcinogens and carbon monoxide as a vehicle. So if you're wondering, yes, a cigarette actually does put out quite a bit of carbon monoxide. Now, what's our local? Well, that's something you could see every day. Anytime you water your lawn, anytime that you start your car, anytime that you turn on your water heater or you use electricity, you can see the local change. All right, and that has to do with the electromagnetosphere that you create and manipulate around you, and the atmosphere that you manipulate around you. So, your local, here on the top of the list, your local change is going to be slightly noticeable. And that's understandable because human beings, what we see, we believe. And so if we can believe that something on a local level, because there are so many humans on the planet, might be global, we think, oh, this must be a global problem. Okay, well, it quite possibly is. But I would also argue this. Human beings don't have enough oomph to try and get the old choo-choo magoochum going, you know what I mean? They decidedly, or we decidedly, think that we're just so powerful and we completely ignore the more powerful things in the cosmos. I don't know, like nuclear fusion, galactic sheet. Come on, folks. Electricity. So our global effect human beings might have, while it is noticeable, it's really not that great of an effect. It's not all that big. It's like, meh. Woo! we have an effect on our globe. Sorry. When I say things that are humorous, they just kind of make me laugh anyway. So there you go. Universal. What is our universal effect? Now, universal effect in this regard, I'm not speaking about the actual universe, okay? Get your freaking nerdology heads out of your asses. I'm not talking about the universe as a whole. I'm talking about what is our effect in the long term. What is our universal effect? Well, we could see this from history. I mean, there have been times where there were billions of people on this planet long in our history. We say, oh, well, that's not possible because the census, you got to remember, the census was taken by people. And human beings are notorious for downplaying the numbers. You know, we're just good at that, okay? So take into account that, yes, possibly I might be downplaying the numbers a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. All right, so there's your universal. We don't have a universal effect, all right? The Earth just kind of just tilts back and has a happy day. You know, we don't do really much to it. Okay, so now on the list, I'm going to light my cigarette again. Holy shit. My kingdom for a lighter. Actual effects of global climate change, according to scientists. Now, these are the brainy folks of our generation, of other generations, and quite frankly, the smartest people on this planet. They say these are the actual effects. And I'm going to read them off to you because it's obvious it's hard to see my handwriting or understand it. So, we're going to start off with solar. Solar factor of climate change. There's a lot that goes into that, all right? So, electromagnetic radiation, we all know that it happens to create heat. It creates electricity. It creates magnetism. And it creates manipulative energies, we'll say, because everything can be manipulated by magnetism. So, our solar manipulation of our climate is far more than our human manipulation ever could be. Even though we do understand electromagnetics and we personally can create such a thing as a electromagnetic manipulation. Pardon my stumbles. So, infrared, ultraviolet, and solar particulates, which do actually happen to make it to the Earth's surface, but they don't do so with the high amounts of energy that they leave the surface of the sun with. And that's because they lose that energy in our electromagnetosphere and our atmosphere. So that kind of pretty much contains the solar energies that manipulate our climate to an extent, and we'll get more into that in just a minute. Cosmic. What are the cosmic manipulators? The seeds which create things like clouds and lightning and weather phenomena that we can't fully understand or explain, but we do understand to an extent. and we utilize that to explain to ourselves, according to a reasonable nature, what is actually happening. Cosmic rays, cosmic ray imbalance of our electromagnetosphere, the precipitation of electromagnetic particles and subatomic particles. Once the electromagnetic rays make it to our atmosphere or ionosphere, these things actually do manipulate weather and create weather on our planet. So, you know, saying that we humans are what manipulates the weather is narcissistic. It is thinking that we humans are the biggest, baddest motherfuckers in the cosmos, and we're not. We really are not. Planetary! Now we get into the fun shit. You see, Jupiter actually happens to manipulate our weather in ways that our scientists won't even acknowledge. All right? The pull, the gravitational pull of Jupiter manipulates the tilt of the Earth on its axis every so slightly. And that ever so slightly tilt manipulation going around the sun, and we tilt back and forth and then weeble wobble and gooble and pivot on our axis and whatnot. That all comes from Jupiter's gravitational pull and Saturn's gravitational pull. And people say, no, it's according to the moon. Well, actually, it's not. You see, the moon is not big enough to have that effect. It is big enough to affect the oceans and basically be like the big ladle in the stir pot, stirring it all up and making everything move. But it is not enough to tilt the Earth. The Earth is actually enough to tilt the moon. So, as far as a planetary source is concerned, gravity has so much that it manipulates in our atmosphere from other planets. Gravity from other planets manipulates our atmosphere. So saying, oh, well, we humans are the ones that are making everything go wrong, it's not the case. It just can't be with all these other factors. Next factor, plasmatic. Now, what does plasmatic mean? That is the factor of plasma and plasma manipulation of the cosmos and plasma manipulation of our atmosphere, which is itself a plasma. When you say, oh, it's not, it's just, gases that are, in atmospheric mixture, wrong. Because the definition of a plasma is a atmosphere or a gas in an atmospheric pressure which has lost electrons and now can be manipulated to change its ionic form. That happens every single day with our atmosphere. It changes ionic form in the ionosphere, and those ions then precipitate down into the general atmosphere, which then activates things like weather. So, plasma has a big deal to do with what our atmosphere actually does, because our atmosphere is a plasma. And so is the sun, so is Jupiter's atmosphere, so is the vacuum of space. It is actually a plasma. It's just a plasma which is not dense enough for us to recognize fully as a plasma, because the electrons have the freedom to just run around and do whatever they want. Whereas here on Earth, they pretty readily quickly bump into something and become something else. So, plasma, okay. Density has a big thing to do with that, but still, it's not the be all and end all of it. Next factor, carbonic. Well, carbon has a huge role to play. Just because people say, oh, well, we make so much carbon with our bodies and our agriculture and our pharmaculture and our mechanics and our technology and all that. We don't actually do that much as far as carbon is concerned. Volcanoes, in fact, just the recent, the Icelandic volcanoes, the Japanese volcanoes, the volcanoes on the islands in the Aleutians, the volcanoes in the diadems, the volcanoes in the South Pacific, which are constantly churning out megatons of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide and sulfuric oxide and sulfuric dicarbonic gases. These volcanoes are putting out, each volcano puts out about, and this is at the smallest, at the most mediocre level of volcano there's possible, okay, on this planet. Mud volcanoes, for instance, put out more CO2 than the entire human race has in its history. These volcanoes put out more CO2 in 1 hour. Come on, people. Are you that stupid that you would actually think that human beings have anything to do with climate change now? Look at science. Geology is part of that. So, carbonic, carbons in our atmosphere, hydrocarbons, oxycarbons, carbonic acids, carbonic dilatants, things like that. Just everything that has to do with carbon itself in a gaseous form. All right. And that could be a vapor, or it could be a true gaseous form, or it could be a plasmatic form. I mean, when you burn a fire, you're making plasmatic carbons. It doesn't matter what kind of fire it is, because the plasma itself is taking carbon out of the atmosphere and creating carbons from that plasma. All right. When you say, oh, we don't create anything, we do create. We create a lot by taking two materials and bonding them. That's creation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you just took something out of nothing and then just said, okay, well, I created something. That's bullshit. There's no such thing as taking something from nothing and then creating it. All right. Even whatever grand designer was out there had to have something to start with. So that's carbonic. Atmospheric. Now, this is the atmosphere that already exists on our planet, or say another planet that might be have a breathable oxygenated atmosphere, which might be slightly different in its composition, but still of a breathable nature. Okay, meaning that we can breathe it in without it destroying our bodies on a molecular scale rapidly enough that it would cause death. That atmospheric manipulation. Now, you say, well, you've already been over the atmospheric thing several times. Yes, I have. But the atmosphere itself, because of the electric current sheets, because of plasma, because of volcanic gaseous manipulation, because of chemistry, the atmosphere plays a huge role. In fact, without it, we wouldn't have this problem. We wouldn't be having this argument. So, the atmospheric is a huge factor that not a single one of these politicians pay attention to. They're saying, oh, climate change, but they're going, humans are the problem, and they're not paying attention to the rest of the factors. And we have to look at the factors in order to understand the entire equation. Otherwise, we're getting our final product wrong. It's simple multiplication. It's simple mathematics. This is stuff that 5-year-olds are doing in their classrooms right now, folks. So, pay attention here. Use your brains. The most important 6 inches on your body happens to be between your ears, not between your legs. So please pay attention. And the next factor on the list. No, it's not humans yet. It's electrics. Okay? Electromagnetics, electricity, bioelectricity, and let me see here, galactic current sheets, solar current sheets, and Terran current sheets, which is the Earth current sheets. As far as electricity is concerned, we are sitting on top of a giant fucking capacitor, all right, that happens to be chooching out about 5 million volts. Okay? You'd be surprised at how much this planet actually pushes out on the whole. 5 million volts on per second squared. I mean, just poof, gone, all that voltage out into the cosmos. And then the cosmos is pushing voltage back into us, and it's like a one giant circuit. Okay? It's all electricity. And to say that, oh, well, we humans know electricity, so we must be manipulating that. No. Not enough. We actually don't put out enough electricity on the whole as human beings. I mean, we get what? 0.5 kVA, or kVH, 0.5 with our machines, with our most powerful machines, we get 0.5 kVH. All right, that's kilovolts per hour. 0.5. And we actually have to rectify that to make it strong enough to be usable. It's amazing what people will believe because they have hair dryers and, computers and things that supposedly run off of like 5 kVH. You can literally run it off of the atmosphere if you knew how to manipulate that. So, when it comes down to it, we humans are not manipulating electricity. Electricity is manipulating us. Okay? So let's get that very clear. There is no such thing as a human being manipulating electricity. All right? We're barely even fuckering around with the 2 electrodes going, oh, looky! Sparks! I mean, that's the level we are on, technologically speaking, as far as any galactic species would be concerned, okay? We're not even playing around with the sparks going, ooh, look pretties. We're going, what was that? On the grand scheme of scale, okay? So, finally, we get to the freaking big controversial bullshit of it. Human technological. Yes, the human technological factor. We pump out millions of tons of CO2. Big whoop. A volcano puts out gigatons. Now, what's a gigaton? Well, that's about 1 million tons. So we put out 1 gigaton maybe per month, per couple of months on a global scale. 1 gigaton. Volcanoes put out 1 gigaton in a matter of seconds. Seconds! We couldn't possibly manipulate the atmosphere like that. I mean, what? You fart like a volcano? Oh no, I'm sorry. Your car chooches off volcanic ash. Oh my God. Somebody smack you because you are stupid! There is no way you can put out as much as a volcano, let alone as much as the sun. Gah! Carbon is not the big manipulator in our atmosphere anyways. It's actually water. That's the manipulator in our atmosphere, and water is all around us, and we are water, and water happens to contain a lot of fucking energy. So there's nothing we can do to stop that particular cycle keeping it moving and chooching along. It's going to do its thing. And there ain't a shit bit we could do about it. Okay? So get that shit out your minds right now. We humans do not manipulate the atmosphere. In fact, the atmosphere manipulates us. It dictates what the fuck we do, but we can't dictate what it does. All right? We try and we fail miserably, horribly. We fail. So I don't want to hear your bullshit of, oh, well, human beings are making the climate change and global warming, and man, your brain cells are burning. The long-term effects of human-based ecological upheaval. Now, plants put out roughly, 40% oxygen, another like 18-20% nitrogen, and most of that is in compounds, so it's got to be broken down anyway. Some of it's CO2, some of it's O2, some of it's O3, some of it's sulfur oxides, because plants can't live on sulfur. They actually can't. They have to get rid of the sulfur in order to be able to breathe. So, and sulfur plugs up their stoma, so they can't actually. If you know the word, put it down in the comments below. I want to know. I can't think of it off the top of my head, and I'm not going to spend time. I don't have the time to do that. So, the existent ecological upheaval that we cause as human beings would only actually be existent if there was no plant life on this planet at all. There was no such thing as cyanobacteria. Okay, let's be very clear. That bacteria actually makes more oxygen than any other process on this planet. They make more breathable O2 than any other process, chemical included. And we can freaking chooch out some serious O2 with chemical process. So I want you to understand the air you're breathing right now is loaded with cyanobacteria, and it's literally cyanobacteria farts that you're breathing in, and that's how we breathe. So there you go. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that cyanobacteria create our atmosphere as a breathable atmosphere, we'd be dead already. All right. There wouldn't be a human race. There wouldn't be animals on the planet because we all breathe the same oxygen. We have to have that oxygen to breathe. So, because that oxygen manipulates things like sugars and chemicals in our systems, which then makes it so that we can produce energy, and our bodies can then utilize that energy in order to live. We all need energy. Okay, so is it existent or is it non-existent as far as human ecological upheaval? You tell me. Is it existent or non-existent by what you've found out so far from the Guardsman channel? Is it? Or are you like me and believe that about the only way that we can manipulate the atmosphere, or the the breathable portion of the atmosphere, is literally for the better of this planet, of ourselves, of animals included, because we're creating CO2, which cyanobacteria need in order to create O2. And then, why is this such a big thing? If we know that human beings are actually doing a good thing for this planet, just like animals breathing are creating a good thing for this planet, we all kind of have a small part to play. And, are we doing for the better or are we doing for the worse? Are we just not even making a difference? Que bono, off of a narrative. Que bono. Because this is a narrative, okay? Global warming is a narrative. It has nothing to do with reality or science. And this is truth that you can observe. If you stop breathing all of a sudden because you can't breathe in, because your body won't let you, okay, I believe you. As far as, the politicians saying global warming is concerned. Because just a few degrees enhancement and oxygen starts to dissimulate and become O1 or O3, because it's the only bonds that can actually hold and adhere. Okay? You'll notice this on a really, 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 really hot day. It tends to be harder to breathe. That's because there's less oxygen, less O2, breathable oxygen in the atmosphere around your body, okay? There's still oxygen there because it's not so hot that oxygen doesn't precipitate, all right? So, T bono, politicians. There's a political angle to the global warming bullshit. And as long as children continue to hear the global warming angle and not the scientific angle, they are going to fall for it hook, line, and sinker wholesale. Which is kind of sad because there ain't no way they're going to learn about it from my channel. I don't allow children on this channel. Because one, I ain't putting up with your mouth. If you want to go and talk shit to people because you're not going to be a good human being and you like being an asshole, the fuck off my channel. I'm not going to censor your ass, but I'm not going to censor anybody who tries to tear you a new one. So as far as it goes, what are the politics of that? What's the scariest thing you can think of? The absolute scariest thing you can think of. Human extinction. That's pretty fucking scary. What about global animal extinction? That's really fucking scary. What about the extinction of life on Earth in its entirety? Wow. That's some pretty scary shit. And the narrative of global warming, see where I'm getting with this? Politicians will use fear whenever they can. And it's only up to scientists, science, and the human brain, our ability to understand reason and logic, that makes it possible for us to see through their bullshit. So, yes, global warming is real in the minds of politicians. and in the minds of the fooled masses. So let's get into the next part of it. The why. Why do we have any effect? Well, because chemistry is science, and chemistry can cause all sorts of things. It can do all sorts of things. It's amazing what chemistry can actually do. All right. And we as human beings are just a big chemical soup walking around. Literally. I mean, you're a bag of chemical soup. Prove me wrong. If you can, if you dare. Why do politicians use it as a platform? We already went over that, but we'll do it one more time. Because it creates revenue. What drives the economy? Revenue. What makes a politician have their asshole pucker or their dick get hard? Revenue. So, why do politicians use it as a platform? Oh yeah. Why do human beings fear it? That's why politicians use it as a platform, is fear. Fear itself is a grand motivator. And this is something that politicians say every single time. You can listen to them right across the board. Fear is a grand motivator. Richard Nixon. Bernie Sanders. I don't want you to live in fear. I want you to live in happiness and prosperity. And the only way that's going to happen is if we all get on this bandwagon and we all stand up to global warming. Dude, I'm feeling the burn, and it ain't from your freaking speech. I'm feeling you, Bernie. Guess what? I'm feeling you're kind of nutty. So, yeah, it takes somebody who's not afraid of anything to actually go and look at the actual science and say, hey guys, they're talking shit. Do you really want to be sitting there eating that turd sandwich that they're fucking handing you? My God, you might as well take the slabs of bread off this side for the flavor you're going to get. You're going to have a stomach ache later. So, next, I'm the guardsman on board of truth. Hoorah! Hoorah! What effect do we humans actually have? I've been over this a couple dozen times. But we'll do it again. Because we beat dead horses here. And we don't put up with political bullshit. So, what effects do we humans actually have? Negligible. In fact, it's so negligible that the sun and Jupiter are laughing in their freaking primordial sense. Okay? They are dying of laughter. Jupiter's actually sitting there belly laughing so hard, his belly button busted a hernia, and now he's got a fucking giant red spot there. So, effect negligible. What would it do in the short term? Well, in the short term, it might get a little harder to breathe, but in all reality, it just means that a lot of people are going to die from poverty. A lot of people are going to die from not having the ability to do what they can do in order to affect for the better, because they're so afraid of their own fucking shadows. Because they're so afraid of what politicians are spreading. Propaganda. That's all it is, propaganda. Please pay me more for my campaign so that I can fuck you over some more. My God, it makes me want to cry, but my tear ducts don't fucking really work all that well. Chalk that up to fucking being face first in an explosion. What would it do in the long term? You have your answer. What can I do to make a difference? You want to know? Water a bush. Stop pissing in your toilet, go piss in your yard. Oh, and when somebody says, you can't do that, you're gonna cause your little kids to have freaking impure thoughts. Excuse me, what the fuck do you call Antifa but a bunch of little kids with impure thoughts? At some point, you gotta stop giving a fuck and just do it. Our sewer is the major issue. It's the reason why we're having such issues. Okay? Yes, shit needs to be chemically manipulated so that it's actually useful by plants and creatures elsewise. You know, like cyanobacteria and whatnot. Human fecal matter. Okay? That needs to be manipulated. Yes. So we still do need some form of sewage. However, urine, plants can eat that directly. You might as well piss on your yard or piss down a tube that goes out to your yard if you're that freaking asinine on, oh, I don't want children to be seeing my pecker. Are you really that ashamed of how small it is? Jesus Christ! Damn, son! You got a small pecker and you're worried that somebody else looking at it's gonna be envious? Fuck! They're gonna look the other way and go, damn, that guy's got a small dick. I'm just, fuck! What's wrong with you people? So, what can I do? Become a more natural human being. That's what you can do. You can be an ELF, Earth Life Friend, an elf. It's kind of something that I've taken part in myself a lot, and people don't really see it. They don't pay attention. They don't really know that it's like something that you can actually do and be an ELF. You could still be an ELF and be an independent or a Republican or, you know, a conservative. You can be an ELF. It's easy. Water your lawn. Water your garden. Water the rocks in your driveway. Water the concrete in your driveway. Plant a tree. Fuck, plant a grove of trees. Let your aquarium or whatever grow that green shit because it puts off oxygen. Quite a bit of oxygen, actually. Your fish, they don't give a shit about it just so long as it doesn't reach toxic levels of other chemicals. And that's what you got to worry about, all right, is the pH levels. Not the actual oxygen and oxygenation of the water by the algae that grows in your aquarium. So what can I do? You can do a lot. In fact, you can do so much that one person can make the difference that outweighs the entirety of human technology to this day. So there you go. That's what can I do? How does this affect my actions? Well, my actions need to be affected for the better. Always. And they have to be affecting for the better. So if my actions have to be affecting for the better, of course I'm going to get out there. I'm going to be watering my lawn. I'm not going to be listening to politicians. Very, very serious about that. Fuck you, motherfuckers. Take your politics Turn them sideways and shove them. It's utter bullshit. See, how does this affect my actions? My actions are really not affected because I've been doing this all along. Oh, I water concrete because guess what? It puts off water vapor. What drives our weather? Water vapor, in the most part, drives our weather, because without water vapor, you can't have rain, you can't have clouds, you can't have snow, you can't have oxygen, you can't have ionized gases such as O3, ozone. You know, the fuck are you people doing? Oh, we can't water the lawn because the water's going to go away. Are you stupid? Obviously. How does this affect global politics? Well, when 1 degree change on the freaking thermometer over a year, or over 10 years, 10 degrees change on the thermometer, it will be a big change, but it's actually more of a half a degree per decade change overall. I mean, we bounce back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that much of a change. But because, you know, media moves so much faster than, you know, the natural sciences of the planet, it's easy to manipulate the mind of humans. So politics are, of course, going to play up whatever could possibly might go wrong in the furthest sense of possibility in the conceivable to the mind. They'll pull that little thread and say, this is what I'm going to do. Politics are utter crap. Bullshit. It's just to make it so that they could take more of your rights away so that they could live a little bit more high on the hog. And it's bullshit. Especially for somebody who's living low on the frickin' belly as I am. How does this affect, or no, how can I make a difference? How can I make a difference? Stop paying attention to politicians. Pay attention to the scientific community when they have something right, and they could be absolutely certain of it because they have this much data to prove it. Okay, I have a lot of data behind what I'm saying. Yes, most of what I'm saying has a political twist. Okay, but this particular Oliver is not twisting this up for your benefit. He's twisting it up for everyone's benefit. This is going to be one big ass freaking joint. So, yo, Cheech, Chong, hey, y'all brothers better get in here. We about to smoke some dope. You know what I'm saying? Some real brain dope. So, how much of an effect do humans actually have in the grand scheme? Answer below in the comment section because I'm not going over that. I don't have time. How much more does the earth herself affect that? Again, answer below in the comment section. Understand, you will not be censored. And if you are, by God, I bring a war. All right. When will these effects be noticeable? These effects are noticeable every single day. You look outside, you go, oh, it gets warmer when the sun comes up. It gets cooler when the sun goes down. Plasma creates heat. There you go. Infrared energies. There you go. When can these effects be noticeable? Right now. The more you shield yourself from the plasma, the more you notice the effect of cooling. So you can see that you can notice these effects right now. Walk outside, go and look at it. Don't look at the sun, but go and look at what the sun does every single day. Enjoy the atmosphere you have. Okay? And then try to make it a better atmosphere, which is not that hard. It's as simple as water your fucking lawn. God, people. Science. Science! Oh, when will these effects be harmful to life? I'm going to answer that for you now. Never. Jesus Christ. Life has existed on this planet for 4 billion years, as long as the planet's been around. Well, not as long as the planet's been around, but for as long as the planet has had liquid water. When will the climate right itself? It's doing it right now. As we speak, as we churn tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of carbon into the atmosphere, as we sit there and manipulate our atmosphere according to the politicians, as we destroy, according to the politicians, so much of the Earth's surface and ecological systems and whatnot. Yeah, that's why coyotes live in the city. We're just so destructive. So, give examples throughout history. This is my part that I'm going to do. Examples throughout history. I'm going to try and do it in the next 7.5 minutes because that's how much I've got. So, please pay close attention. Examples throughout history. Every 36,000 years, the climate shifts because of our rotational axis of our planet points towards or away from our sun. From our star, the sun. Okay, it points 26 degrees, direct, or 26 degrees opposing during perihelion. Okay, and during aphelion, it's a similarly opposing on the opposite end of that spectrum. So there you go. And this manipulates our climate far more than we humans ever possibly could. Okay? This is science that is provable, geologically recorded. All right? We can actually see it in ice cores. We can see it in sediment cores. We can see it in the way that our planet has been for the last 4 billion years. Not 4 million, 4 billion. Okay. In human history, the relative climate shifts that we've been privy to. There's the 10,000 years ago ice age, I believe it was called I can't remember. Down in the comment section, if you got the answer, please. Scientists of the world unite. Let us fight these stupid motherfuckers in Washington because they don't understand a goddamn thing. Okay? Politics aside. Let us look at the actual science. The real science. Not the Bernie Sanders science. Not the Donald Trump science. Not the freaking Edgar Wiggle science. Not the Bill Nye science. I'm talking about actually observable science, which Bill Nye did for years and then fucked up when he started saying bullshit that he had no way of proving. So let's stay off the bullshit spectrum. Let's actually look at the science we can prove. Human history related climate changes have happened the past 36,000 years, the past 10,000 years, and the past 4 million years, 4.3 million years to be exact. That's how far back we can actually look and see fossilized evidence of upright walking humanoid creatures. Okay. 4.3 million years. The steppes of, I believe that's in Ohio. I could be wrong. It might be in the Dakotas. It might be in Montana. It's in the Ohio Basin. Okay. They are Paleoman steppes. And you can find them. They are fossilized, and they are actually part of a national park now where they're actually there. They're here in the United States, and you can go and look at them. Okay. They're footprints of a human being that was around 4.3 million years ago. And they had a kid walking next to them. You know, we know it was a child because the footprints are the same, but they're smaller. So there you go. I have another 3 minutes. Let's get this done. The 36,000 and 10,000 year climate shifts. These happen. And they continue to happen and will always continue to happen because the Earth does its own fucking thing without our approval. Okay? We don't have a fucking shit bit of say in what the Earth does. Okay? Even with fracking, even with all of this other shit, all right? Yeah, we create earthquakes. Woo! Big whoop. On the grand scale of things, that does absolutely nothing. Okay? The grand scale of things, the Earth doesn't give a fuck. The Earth says, ooh, that tickled. Hey, you popped one of my pimples. Awesome, thank you. You might want to move out of the area because it's going to be inundated with water, but the Earth goes, fuck you. You know, big whoopee. We're like a mosquito on the ass end of an elephant. By retrospect of what we can actually manipulate and do. So there's that. Anyways, you know, here y'all I am now out of time. So we will continue this tirade in the comment section below. Hopefully I won't have to come back and regulate. You know, I'm not very big on that. I don't like having to run through the comment section and browbeat people because they try to browbeat others. So please keep a civil tongue in your head or you will find that you are not going to be happy. Otherwise, y'all have a good one. Enjoy the comment section. Make sure that you have respect for everyone else. You know, I don't mind cuss words. I don't mind, you know, a little bit of browbeating as far as it goes. If you actually know what you're talking about and you have science to prove it and back it up, not backed by Google, by all means, go ahead. Because you're proving a point and you're proving it correctly. Okay? Google is a platform that just takes everything and goes, here's a smattering of shit. So let's not go with the Google crap. Okay? Get your Googles off. And let's do this with real human eyes, human hands, human noses, human ears, human mouths, human brains. Let's do this, okay? Let's actually prove these stupid motherfuckers wrong because it's real. It's an actual thing we can prove. Anyways, yeah. This is Commodore Price signing off. American Patriot.